Going back to our top story on the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, the political chief of Hamas, and the reaction coming from US, we are joined by DD India's Jody joining us live from Washington, D.C. Jody Jacobs joining us live from New York, I beg your pardon, just outside UN. And US has clearly made a point, Jody, good evening. In fact, good morning to you out there. Made a point of not really speculating on the ramifications of Haniyeh's killing as we speak, the fears of greater escalation surge. They have distanced themselves but have maintained a very steadfast position in its defense, quote-unquote, defense of Israel if attacked. What more reactions coming in from White House?
Indeed. Indeed, and of course these major developments throws the war between Israel and Hamas into an unprecedented and some might say a very dangerous phase. Now, Hamas officials saying Ismail Haniyeh's death would not pass in vain and described the killing as a grave escalation, while Iran's supreme leader saying that it is our duty, quote, to ask for the blood of our dear guest. And this, of course, is the rhetoric that has many concerned. It's a tough one for the US, who through its Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, saying that this is something we were not aware of and not involved in. He was, of course, speaking at an event in Singapore, Blinken saying that he won't speculate on what impact today's news might have, but he stresses the importance of continuing to, of course, push for a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. Nothing takes away from the importance of getting to a ceasefire, he says, which is manifestly in the interest of the hostages and, of course, bringing them home. Blinken adding that the Palestinians, he says, are suffering terribly every day in Gaza. They are caught between the crossfire that Hamas, he says, is making. Now, we are also learning just a few minutes ago that the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, spoke to Qatari and Jordanian officials on Wednesday. He has stressed the importance, of course, of these ongoing ceasefire talks. The White House, however, saying that it has seen the reports of Haniyeh's killing. A spokesperson saying that they've declined to immediately comment any further. The Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, saying that he does not think war in the Middle East is inevitable.
Right.
But if Israel is in fact attacked, the US would defend itself.
Yes. In fact, UNSC has called for an emergency security meet following these developments. So how is world body really looking at the development, and anything that you've heard from UN as far as this security meet on this latest development is concerned?
So, of course, the talk of this killing, as well as those attacks on Lebanon last night, has been front and center of those talks here in the corridors of the United Nations. Since early this morning, the UN Secretary General, of course, releasing a statement about the attacks by Israel on Lebanon, and then, of course, waking up to the news of the killing of Ismail. And so the United Nations has voiced their grave concern about these latest developments. The Secretary General, through his spokesperson, again urging the parties to exercise some form of maximum restraint and called on all concerns to try and avoid any further escalation. Now, on the international diplomatic level, we know that there is a possibility of an emergency Security Council meeting. That request has now gone through to the President of the UN Security Council, that being Russia. And we're still waiting on an exact time as to when that emergency Security Council meeting will happen. There are no meetings that were scheduled for today in the diary of the Security Council, but it being the last day of Russia's rotating presidency of the Council, there's a big possibility that this could still, of course, happen during the course of the day. And Russia has been very vocal about the US's involvement with Israel being its ally. And so they are probably going to try and push for that meeting to take place today to confront the United States around that horseshoe table in the UN Security Council.
Yes, and if at all that meeting takes place, it will be interesting to see how the rest of the members of the UNSC club, so to say, are going to deliberate, just not react, but see to it that there is no further bloodshed. Thank you very much, Jacobs, for joining us from New York on the way US has reacted to the development, the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. Thank you.